Holy Christ, the Redeemer! That's the statue that I'm standing in front of here. Christ the Redeemer, the most recognized statue of Jesus Christ possibly on planet Earth, and the most awesome example of Jesus Christ in Art Deco style. This is a 10 or 13 story high Jesus statue that was built between 1922 and 1931, and it overlooks the awesome landscape of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. One of the most Catholic countries on planet Earth, and in fact has the most Catholic people of any country on planet Earth. It may not be the most Catholic percentage-wise, but with a giant population, Brazil itself a superpower of Latin America and a middle power of the entire planet, with a giant population here in Brazil, about 65 or 70% of which are of the Catholic faith. You have the biggest single population of Catholics on planet Earth, about 130 to 135 million people attest to the faith right here in Brazil. Although that is changing a bit. Now again, this statue built, gosh, almost 100 years ago now, about 80, 85, is a beautiful example of Art Deco, completed in 1931. The construction of it was funded by people giving donations to have this awesome spectacle, which is now considered one of the 7 wonders of the New World. So it's awesome in its own right, with this awesome commanding view of this very Catholic place. Although I've now hinted several times that that may be changing a bit. So what's going on here in very Catholic Brazil that's a portend for the future? Just this. Latin America as a whole is defined almost by Catholicism. The Portuguese that came here over 500 years ago, and in fact exactly in the year 1500 when the first imperial colonizer explorers came here, they had a priest with them who put down a flag, consecrated the place, claimed it for Portugal, and said, and by the way, we're a Catholic country. One of the mantras of the early explorers, both the Portuguese and the Spanish who came and took over what is now Latin America, was the 3 G's: God, glory, and gold, meaning those are the 3 things they came here to do. And God was number 1. And what those Iberians did, both the Portuguese and the Spanish, good Catholic countries, both of them, was to spread the good Catholic word and convert all the heathen natives to the good Catholic faith. So for the last 500 years, all of Latin America has been staunchly Catholic. In fact, the greatest, I think now, proportion of Catholics on planet Earth is here in Latin America, and Brazil is the epicenter with the biggest population. That's for starters. So even 100 years ago, this would have been an overwhelmingly Catholic place. Maybe 90, 95% of people would say that I am a practicing Catholic, but that was 100 years ago. In today's world, the statistics are more like 65, 70%. So, and it's shrinking. So what's going on? Well, you have a couple different things here. The Catholic faith, very hierarchical, okay? In order to be saved for salvation, you need to go up the chain and talk to your local priest, who talks to a bishop, who talks to an archbishop, who talks to the pope, very hierarchical. The whole Protestant faiths actually came up as an anti-argument to that you could have personal salvation through God, just going to talk to God yourself. That's why Protestantism started up. And so Protestantism is starting to have big inroads, even here in very Catholic Brazil, very Catholic Latin America. So you've had, over the course of just the last 50 years, now you're looking at maybe 15, 20, maybe 25% of folks in Brazil are now saying, I'm a Protestant, of one of the Protestant divisions, mostly Seventh-day Adventist, evangelicals, Baptist. They've taken hold here because you can have personal salvation, but also it's been seen that the Catholic faith, there's this really big worldwide hierarchy, has maybe kind of forgotten the poor a little bit. And so you have Protestants that come in and start soup kitchens and start schools and have their own little organizations that really help people on the street. So you have a bit of, I won't say a religious war, but the Protestants have made big headway here in Brazil. But there's something else going on, and that is, as people have progressed, as the society's gotten richer, and actually as some of the society's gotten way poorer in the favelas and slums, as wealth disparity has increased, a lot more folks on the rich side and poor side of that spectrum have increasingly become what we call irreligious or ill-religious. That is, no religion at all. And that number may be 7, 8, 10% of this population. So you put 2 and 2 together there with the not religious and the Protestant, and you have a state, still the biggest Catholic country on planet Earth. Hang in there, Jesus, they're still with you. But that number of hardcore Catholics, self-identified, has been shrinking even here in the heartland. Even amongst the 65% of folks that would say, I'm a self-identified Catholic, most folks say that actual practicing is probably more like 20 or 25%. Yeah, maybe half of those folks go to church every now and again, but only 20 or 25% would be truly daily, every week going to Mass, that type of thing. And that's very much like the Western world, very much like the developed world. The richer societies get, usually the less kind of actual practicing religious stuff you have going on. Does that make sense? Now, this is a really big deal, and I'll finish with this. Why would this be important for current events, to talk about stuff like the Catholicism, religion in Brazil? Because it's no mistake and it's no coincidence, my friends. You guys know I don't believe in coincidences, neither does Jesus. It's no coincidence that the current Pope is from Latin America. It's no coincidence he's an Argentinian. Actually, my money was on that he would be a Brazilian. Why? Because the Catholic Church, which has, I believe, 1 billion adherents worldwide, the biggest single religions with that many followers, has been losing ground. If it's losing ground in Brazil, of course it's losing ground in America and other places. So in an effort to bolster their new core land of Catholicism here in Latin America, they appointed, I believe, at least in part, an Argentinian guy to be the next pope. And that Argentinian guy, who's the current pope, is wildly popular within all of Latin America, but the world, because he's kind of getting back to grassroots, thinking about poor people, trying to get back out and mingle with the common folks. And people are loving that. I think it's a quite intentional move by the Pope and the Catholic Church to kind of reel back in their support base. I'll finish with this. Does anybody know where the new Pope went for his very first visit? Do you know? Do you know? Jesus knows. Do you know? The new Pope came here to Brazil for his first official foreign visit. Not a coincidence. Rejuvenate the Catholic base, and now we have some polka music playing. I don't know why. Maybe they heard that I was here speaking. But the Pope came here to rejuvenate and reignite the Catholic base in the biggest Catholic country on planet Earth. 130 million adherents. It's shrinking, and the Catholic Church wants to try to remedy that as quickly as possible. But for now, we're out.